The natural Sterit was unleashed in its full, breathtaking glory. After a flurry of exchanged messages via mental energy, the tension snapped taut. The rivalry between Grand Citadel Academy and Summit Academy had finally begun. Ethan. Thomas observed, his gaze steady. Whether you secure that blood-activating pill depends entirely on your own hands. The first phase was the individual competition. Both schools selected their champions, and only after the lineup was set could the true secrets be revealed. For Grand Citadel Academy, Owen stepped forward. More accurately, he had volunteered with an almost reckless enthusiasm, radiating boundless energy. Ethan merely let him take his place. He thought as long as they did not lose all 5 members, the team battle, which was worth 2.5 points, was the true key to victory. Across the ring, a female member from Summit Academy took her stance. Owen had previously teased her, noting her fair skin while gently suggesting she carried a little extra weight. Beautiful. He called out with a smirk, his voice laced with playful arrogance. I won't hold back. The opponent offered no reply to the banter. Her face was an impassive mask of focus. She thought that enough talk, let us begin. The battle erupted. But before Owen could fully commit to a taunt, his carefree smile dissolved, replaced by a sudden, solemn gravity. He remembered the opponent who wielded metal-based superpowers. Gold was notoriously potent against poison. This inherent resistance meant she possessed an unnerving immunity to toxic damage. He cursed internally, realizing the formidable challenge before him. A wave of immense pressure washed over Owen. A cold sweat broke out along his spine. As predicted, after she deployed her A+ rank skill, metallization, his own signature attack, Rain of Poison, rained down relentlessly upon her. The simulated raindrops created dazzling special effects, but they failed to inflict true damage. Then the tide turned. After more than a dozen rounds of intermittent combat, Owen found himself cornered. Her longsword pressed cold and absolute against his neck. With that single move, Summit Academy claimed victory in the first individual match. Brother Ethan. Owen stumbled off the ring, looking genuinely crestfallen. Ethan quickly placed a hand on his shoulder, offering silent comfort. The second singles match saw Clara take the stage. A wave of cheers erupted from the male students in the audience. Her beauty had captured attention even before she entered the arena. The crowd was diverse, drawing students not just from Grand Citadel Academy, but from many other institutions, all eager to witness her performance. Back in the ring, a profound silence settled over the combatants. It was a clash between an S-rank grass element and an S-rank wind element, a stalemate of attributes. Aventure's superior swordsmanship gave her the edge. She executed a sudden feint, striking unexpectedly to sever the opponent's arm. The crowd remained oblivious to the fact that pain perception was deactivated in this virtual reality. Otherwise, experiencing such trauma would risk lifelong psychological damage and severely impact their cultivation. The score stood at 1-1. Classmate Ethan. Clara chuckled softly. Initially, the boys in the audience cheered her success. But when that smile bloomed across her cheeks, a different emotion gripped them, a deep, simmering resentment. Now only 3 competitors remained on each side. In the third round, Grand Citadel Academy selected Daniel. On the opposing side, an Esper specializing in fire was chosen to enter the fray. Brother, take it easy, Daniel said, his smile still warm and reassuring. The moment the battle began, Daniel swung his longsword with blinding speed, sweeping out a massive wind blade. The opponent reacted instantly, dodging the initial strike. But Daniel had played a subtle trick, shifting the trajectory of the wind blade, just enough to sever one finger. Crucially, it was the right hand that fell away. With the initiative seized, the remaining combat became effortless for Daniel. Within minutes, his longsword brought down the opponent. Not bad. He conceded with a nod. I got it! Captain, keep it up! Daniel stepped off the ring, meeting his teammates' high five. After 3 grueling rounds, Grand Citadel Academy held the advantage. Brother Marcus. Ethan asked casually. Shall we go first, or should I? The opposition had 1 remaining combatant, a team leader of the grass element, Andrew, and a girl with light-based abilities. I'll go first, Marcus declared, gripping his broadsword and shield. The captain on your side will probably save himself for last, so leave it to me. Unexpectedly, Andrew did not choose to appear last. He positioned himself second to last. This meant the highly anticipated clash of the two captains would not happen. The result spoke for itself. After Andrew unleashed his superpower, purple gold grass, a colossal vine erupted from his body, whipping wildly at Marcus. Forget fighting, Marcus couldn't even get close enough to engage. Even knowing that his opponent was restraining him, Marcus's gaze remained sharp. He refused to yield. After nearly 10 minutes of struggle, Marcus finally collapsed. With 4 matches concluded, the score was tied. The final match involved Ethan from the realm Tyre. Without even needing to exert full effort, after just one series of ice blades, the light elemental girl on the other side could not withstand the assault. As the opponent fell in the virtual reality arena, the individual competition officially concluded. Grand Citadel Academy and Summit Academy were tied at 3-2. The team competition was set to decide everything. Go Grand Citadel Academy. Go Ethan. Crystal Academy is the strongest. Crystal Academy is the strongest. The roar from the audience swelled, a massive wave of sound like a landslide and a tsunami combined. The players took their positions on the field, forming their battle formations. The moment the whistle blew, Clara closed her eyes and unleashed her full power, natural spirit dew. From her hair, her upper body, her thighs, short branches and delicate flowers burst forth. The vines stretched out in every direction with incredible resilience, while tiny white blossoms scattered across the field, all enveloped by a faint, sweet fragrance of grass and wood, achieving a perfect harmony with nature itself. When she opened her eyes, both pupils glowed with an unmistakable bluish-green hue. Meanwhile, the 4 other members nearby were shielded by the power of nature. It was breathtakingly comforting to behold. In terms of actual combat capability, not only had their output been greatly amplified, but their damage immunity rate had also reached a peak state, the pinnacle of natural spirit dew. Purple gold grass ice rabbit. She is breathtaking. Oh my god, I'm utterly smitten. The stands erupted in a cacophony of cheers and gasps. In that moment, Clara seemed less like a competitor and more like a vision, a saintess born from nature itself, radiating a purity and beauty that stole the breath from every witness. But when their thoughts drifted back to the gentle smile she had offered Ethan, the fists of the onlookers, which had been clenching in anticipation, tightened into rigid knots of resentment. What right does she think she has? Holy light, divine protection, starting with buffs was merely common sense. Seeing this, the opposing team would not be outdone. That girl from Summit Academy, wielding and skill ranked light-based superpower. Both were acts of unleashing profound special abilities. In a flash, intensely brilliant light erupted from her body. A golden shield shimmered into existence, enveloping all their teammates. Yet, both Clara and the light elemental girl had to pour forth immense reserves of mental energy just to maintain their buffed state. The fireball shot out. The opponent sought to seize the initiative, launching a barrage of attacks. Rock barrier. Marcus roared, his voice echoing with primal power. A skill-rank rock barrier. In the next instant, a massive wall of jagged rock materialized before everyone's eyes, deflecting the enemy's relentless bombardment. As in skill-ranked skill, its defensive capability was terrifying. This stony bulwark withstood every assault without crumbling. Purple gold grass. Suddenly, a colossal vine whipped in from the distance. Spikes attached. A thick tube grew rapidly upon the vine, and razor-sharp spikes swept out with tremendous force. The remaining rock walls were no match for this onslaught, splintering away in mere seconds. What a great opportunity! Before the purple gold grass could be fully withdrawn, Ethan seized the moment. One icy blade after another was launched by Ethan at lightning speed. When the ice blades struck the purple gold grass, a thick cloud of crystalline mist instantly erupted. As the icy fog began to dissipate, everyone watched in stunned silence to see that Andrew's purple gold grass had indeed been damaged, and intricate ice blue patterns now traced across its surface. Not only were these damages repaired, but they seemed to have become stronger than before. Ha! What is happening? Owen's eyes widened in disbelief. Was he hallucinating? He rubbed his eyes again, confirming the impossible sight. My purple gold grass ability has a unique feature. When it was awakened, I am not afraid of fire. William spoke, a triumphant gleam in his eye. And I can also feed the purple gold grass various potions. Since it was awakened, I've been feeding it ice-nourishing elixirs and training its related abilities. He paused to dramatic effect. If you damage it with ice element, it doesn't just absorb it, it heals itself, becoming stronger in the process. Perhaps as my realm improves, this effect will become less potent, but at this current level, you could say that my purple gold grass is immune to ice. William shrugged, his lips curling into a wide, knowing grin. He had officially revealed his trump card. Upon learning that this year's captain of Grand Citadel Academy was actually an ice element ability user, and worse, that this user was Thomas Disciple, who stood in direct opposition to his father, William, he could not wait to trample Ethan underfoot and avenge his family. This ambition had fueled every action he took. "He Drevm," William called out, eagerly transmitting his voice through mental energy. "How about it? You aren't going to back out of your promise regarding the skill rank resources, are you?" He watched Thomas' face with burning anticipation. Of course I won't go back on my word," Thomas replied, his tone deceptively casual. "You better prepare to obediently hand over the blood-activating pill later." To William's utter shock, Thomas remained perfectly calm. Others might not understand the Tao, but he did. Ethan's strength surpassed anything they could fathom. Otherwise, he would never have placed such high hopes on him or made this bet. "My disciple is hardly capable," Andrew interjected, using mental energy to send a message again. "But you are certainly full of boosting." Unfortunately, Thomas offered no reply. "Oh no, oh no!" I never expected Andrew to have such a trick up his sleeve. The purple crystal grass's ability to absorb medicinal effects is terrifying. The battle isn't over yet. How can we give up? In the stands of Grand Citadel Academy, a small group sighed and lamented their predicament, but the vast majority remained steadfast in their belief. "Go, Master!" Sitting in the second row, Piper Grace and the other 4 companion beasts cheered for their owners with synchronized gestures. They were impossibly cute. Many female sedents watching the scene felt a sudden, profound warmth spread through their hearts. Sarah, also seated in the second row, gradually focused her attention on the unfolding drama. This was what made it so compelling. Back on the field, after William's declarations, the people from Grand Citadel Academy showed no signs of despair. This unexpected resilience surprised Andrew. After a moment's thought, Andrew reached a conclusion. "Let me think about it." He narrowed his eyes. "Oh, right. You also have an awakening poison type here, don't you?" The reason a purple gold grass was classified as a summoning skill rather than a pure grass element ability was that Andrew could only summon for combat and lacked many other grass element related techniques, a stark contrast to Clara. But at its core, purple gold grass was still grass. Grass element's advantage lay in its balance, excelling equally in offense, support, and defense. However, its weakness that numerous attributes could counter it: fire, ice, poison, metal, bug. There were 5 such types. Apart from fire, while the other 4 were extremely rare attributes, they did not mean they didn't exist. For instance, right now on the stage, wasn't Owen an awakening poison type that countered grass element? "Charge them," Andrew commanded. Owen was utterly speechless. Then, the group from Summit Academy focused their combined firepower on Owen. It was a fight where they risked everything. Owen was replaced, and the opposing team was down 2 players. But Andrew didn't flinch. Ethan's ice element not only posed no threat, but actively enhanced the purple gold grass. Marcus' rock system was self-contained. The other 2 were not a significant danger to him. Owen stepped down. "Let's see how you guys play now." At this moment, Andrew's expression grew increasingly arrogant. Emotions are contagious. On the opposing side of the audience at Summit Academy, excitement spread like wildfire. "Go Beijing! Andrew is invincible!" they shouted with fervent enthusiasm. Andrew, even said calmly, a dangerous edge to his voice. "It's 4 against 3 now, and you can still laugh." The calm tone made the provocation infinitely stronger. 4 against 3, it will soon be 3 against 3. Purple gold grass, get it? Andrew snorted with cold disdain and flicked his wrist. Then, the purple gold grass, propelled by an unstoppable aura, charged toward the Grand Citadel Academy team. Andrew's objective was clear: eliminate the opponent's defender, Marcus. Once Marcus neutralized, the entire situation would become manageable. 3 against 3. That assumption is far from certain, Ethan countered, shaking his head slightly. He began by executing an ice extreme flash, propelling himself 40 meters forward in a blur of cold energy. Next, he raised his cold river sky-splitting spear. With meticulous care, he suppressed every trace of ice-type Yuan energy within the weapon, ensuring not a single drop escaped. To allow such leakage would be to invite exploitation from the enemy. In the span of 1 second, he thrust 5 times. Each strike was infused with his Q-blood power, a staggering amount of raw energy unleashed in a single burst. In that instant, the balance of offense and defense violently shifted. 5 massive holes instantly pierced the purple-gold grass, from which viscous drops of purple sap oozed out. At first glance it resembled bleeding, but in reality the purple-gold grass was hemorrhaging. It hurt so much. The purple-gold grass was no mere inanimate object, it was a living entity. At this moment it trembled uncontrollably, as if silently screaming its agony. Just moments ago, students from Summit Academy had cheered wildly, while those at Grand Citadel Academy sighed and lamented their fate. Half a second ago, the crowd realized something was terribly wrong, and a collective breath was held in suspense. People shouted things like, "Invincible," and praised his spearmanship. Half a second later, an even louder roar of applause erupted from the stands at Grand Citadel Academy. Meanwhile, at Summit Academy, Death Q had already settled deep into the atmosphere. "Brother William, as the Grand Master, you won't go back on your word, will you?" Thomas couldn't suppress a smile, transmitting his voice through mental energy. William fell silent. To refine this purple-gold grass, he as a father had invested countless resources. Was this how Andrew intended to repay him? "You were fortunate this time," William finally replied after a long pause. "I will give you the blood-activating pill after the competition." Andrew heard the pill by chance at an auction. It wasn't meant for his own use, so what was wrong with giving it away? A new idea sparked in him. He should create a new account for himself. Observing this exchange, Sarah narrowed her eyes, a rare display of emotion. Many students ought not recognize her, but Sarah was an enthusiast of firearms and possessed extraordinary skill with long spears. It was undeniable that Ethan's proficiency in spearmanship had reached the astonishing master level. One should remember that Emma only achieved her master level in spearmanship during her sophomore summer. Yet now, barely a month into the semester, Ethan's skill stood at master level. If things continued this way, he might reach ultimate level before graduation. Clearly, his own proud talent for spearmanship paled in comparison to Ethan's. But Sarah was not discouraged, her demeanor remained perfectly calm. There were countless powerful individuals in the world. On the road to growth, one must constantly face and challenge the strong. It was only a pity that she had so little time left before graduation. Otherwise, she would have loved a friendly bout with Ethan. Back in the ring, Ethan pressed his attack relentlessly, pursuing the enemy's weakness. As the saying goes, strike while the iron is hot. The purple-gold grass was badly injured. This was the perfect moment to strike. Seeing this, Andrew could only retrieve the purple-gold grass as quickly as possible. To his surprise, Ethan wasn't merely fast, he couldn't even keep pace with his own grass and struggled to maintain a distance. Just as Andrew felt he was about to reclaim the plant with satisfaction, Ethan leaped up and unleashed the skill, ice burst technique. A tremendous sound of exploding ice rang out. Both the purple-gold grass, which had not yet been retrieved, and Andrew himself were engulfed in a shower of icy fragments. This was happening within a virtual reality simulation. The next moment, the shards vanished, and Andrew found himself resurrected below the arena floor. On the other side of the ring, Daniel was locked in a fierce battle with his opponent's fire-type ability user. The two sides were evenly matched, the game remained deadlocked. He was briefly stunned upon realizing that team leader Andrew had been eliminated. Seizing the opportunity, Daniel unleashed his S-rank skill, Storm Triple Slash. "Brother, it's just the two of you left, why bother?" Daniel addressed Emma. "I will never surrender." His face was etched with unwavering determination. Until he was finally eliminated by Daniel. With several members of the Summit Academy team falling one after another, there was no longer any need to maintain holy light. Like the fire-type ability user, this light elemental girl refused to surrender and charged forward in a desperate fight. Their willpower was immense, but the difference in strength was undeniable. Her desperate gamble was destined to fail and cause no lasting damage. Even without using skills under Ethan's fierce spearmanship, she couldn't withstand more than a few moves. Now that all members of the opposing team were eliminated, Grand Citadel Academy had successfully advanced. Done. Ethan clapped his hands once. The 4 survivors stepped off the stage one by one, and Owen greeted them from below. The screen froze on the image of the 5 people smiling in triumph. We won. We actually won. A burst of enthusiastic applause erupted from the audience, a thunderous sound that lingered for a long time. The first day of the competition had officially concluded. The representatives from Crestwood Institute and Valor College successfully advanced, while Wisborne Valley and Citadel College entered the losers bracket, but still held a chance to continue. Many audience members left with lingering emotions etched on their faces. They seemed to bear witness to the sheer intensity of the match. Brother Yim, thanks to you. Otherwise, this would have been a dangerous situation. Let's go eat. You're the only one who got eliminated. Yet you're still so enthusiastic about eating. They're targeting me, how can you blame me? A cheerful atmosphere permeated the Grand Citadel Academy team. Ethan, a great job. I have a surprise for you after the match. Suddenly, Ethan's phone vibrated slightly. After unlocking the screen, he saw the message, after the match. William gave Thomas a blood-activating pill as promised. A surprise. Ethan felt a sudden surge of anticipation. The fact that was called a surprise meant this item must represent a significant improvement for him now. After bidding farewell to everyone in the bustling cafeteria, Ethan made his way directly to Thomas's residence. What kind of surprise has my teacher prepared for me? The thought of the message Thomas had sent him after the competition caused a familiar flutter in Ethan's chest. Upon arriving at the shared electric scooter and pulling up to the house, Ethan suppressed his excitement, composing himself before politely ringing the doorbell. Thomas's loud voice echoed from within. Footsteps grew closer, and soon the door opened. Ethan, come in quickly. Thomas's smile was warm, unburdened by surprise. He had known Ethan for some time, who wouldn't? Similarly, he understood why Emma and Ethan were visiting. Inside, they settled into the living room. Teacher, about the surprise you mentioned? Ethan asked, his gaze expectant. Seeing him like this, Thomas smiled faintly. The space ring on his finger flashed, and 2 items materialized, one in his left hand, one in his right. In the left was a lemon-green medicinal pill, in the right, a ticket that seemed crafted from materials of extraordinary provenance. The medicinal pill in your left hand is called the blood-activating pill, Thomas stated calmly. It can accelerate the tempering of your blood. The first in your bloodstream and muscle has already been tempered through your daily routine. Therefore, this will allow you to break through to the 4th level of body tempering technique within a week. 1 week. The words, though delivered plainly, sent a profound tremor through Ethan's heart. He gasped in surprise. To know Emma had consumed a full 20,000 evolution points, just to advance from the 2nd to the 3rd level of body tempering technique. Moving from the 3rd breakthrough to the 4th was conservatively estimated to require 50,000 points, or even more. This estimate accounted for the system and evolution points without them, relying solely on his own tempering. Emma would have had to train for an immeasurable length of time, and all of this could be resolved with a single pill. As expected, the surprise was truly extraordinary. A slight tremor ran through Ethan's throat. Teacher, he hesitated. Truthfully, he desperately wanted the blood-activating pill. Its effects were too immense to ignore. Yet, precisely because of its outrageous power, he knew his teacher must have paid a staggering price for it. Compared to that cost, what he had achieved so far leading the Grand Citadel Academy team to defeat Summit Academy's supernatural abilities team felt utterly insignificant. Holding the pill, Ethan felt profoundly unworthy. With over 40 years of experience, Thomas observed the conflict playing across Ethan's features. Sigh, he murmured inwardly. He used to be such a straightforward young man, why is he so hesitant now? Thomas patted Ethan's shoulder, his smile knowing. Don't worry. I obtained this blood-activating pill, without spending a penny or giving anything in return. You didn't spend a single penny. You paid nothing. Ethan was momentarily stunned into silence. That's right. Thomas smiled smugly, continuing. This blood-activating pill originated from a bet. He then recounted the entire story of the wager. After listening, Ethan felt deeply moved. Teacher Thomas had placed such faith in him enough to gamble with an invaluable SS rank resource. Simultaneously, he felt immense relief. If he hadn't led Grand Citadel Academy's team to victory against Summit Academy, this pill would never have reached his hands. Ethan accepted the blood-activating pill. Then, teacher, what is this ticket? Thomas's left hand was empty, so Ethan turned his gaze to his right. This is our mission ticket for Sacred Ice Spring, Thomas said slowly. He knew Emma didn't understand the significance of the name, so he elaborated. Inside the Crystal Spire Hall headquarters, there is a deep vault's passage. In that corresponding deep vault lies a spring called Sacred Ice Spring. I have heard that bathing at Sacred Ice Spring and absorbing its essence can be profoundly beneficial for ice element ability users. However, Sac Ice Spring has limited capacity. The Crystal Spire Hall only issues 50 admission tickets to the public every 2 years. Just this year, as a 7th tier Ice Grandmaster, I was also awarded one by the headquarters. He paused, letting the weight of his words settle. And this is the real surprise I prepared for you. Ethan, you are the disciple I am most proud of to date, and I hope you will accept it. Thomas said with profound seriousness. Despite his exceptional comprehension skills, Ethan still diligently cultivated his talents. Moreover, he was humble, polite, and deeply respectful of his teachers and elders. The combination of these traits was rare, and it brought him a quiet sense of fulfillment. Thank you so much, teacher. Disciple has no way to repay you at the moment, but I promise to remain true to my principles and live up to your expectations. Ethan accepted the Sacred Ice Spring ticket, carefully storing it in his space ring, before saying sincerely, Emma. Alright, it's getting late, you should go back and rest too. Thomas smiled with deep satisfaction, almost unable to contain his joy. Goodbye, teacher. Ethan bid farewell, leaving the residents feeling immensely content. The gifts, the blood-activating pill, and the ticket to Sacred Ice Spring would undoubtedly usher in a qualitative leap in his power. He would never forget this kindness. Afterward, returned to his dormitory. Brother Ethan, you were so cool with your gun. A few shots and that purple gold grass withered away. As soon as he entered the room, Liam rushed over, waving his fists excitedly. His expression was so animated it seemed he could still see the scene playing out on a screen. It's alright, Ethan said calmly. Purple gold grass isn't really that tough, it just doesn't fear the ice element. It was the truth. Tisk. Brother Ethan. Liam scoffed playfully. You don't know, but I was there, and I saw it. There were so many female students in the audience, the expressions of admiration on their faces were priceless. Liam quickly changed the subject. Sigh, no use envying me. As my roommate, don't you want to show off? Don't you want to date a pretty senior? Don't you want to have a smooth journey on the Esper path? Ethan's 3 rhetorical questions hit their mark perfectly. Yes. Liam nodded repeatedly. I understand, Brother Ethan, thank you. With that, Liam dashed back into his own bedroom as if injected with pure adrenaline. The curtain fell on the second day of the 4 great schools freshman competition. The sole remaining match was the losers bracket showdown between Silverstream College and Summit Academy, a contest destined for a muted atmosphere. Yet, even in this consolation bout, the stands buzzed with anticipation. Students from both institutions had gathered to witness their rivals fall. The previous day's events still echoed in Andrew's mind. Ethan's ice burst technique had been brutal enough to blast him into countless ice fragments. Back in his room, the memory became a vicious cycle. Every thought he entertained only fueled more anxiety, which in turn intensified the original fear. The pressure built until it snapped. He suffered a sudden cry attack and vomited blood onto the floor. His body swayed precariously, a physical manifestation of mental exhaustion. While other teams retreated to their dormitories for rest, Summit Academy was anything but restful. Their captain, Andrew, had been hospitalized after the episode, leaving a gaping wound in the team's morale. How could they sleep when the very foundation of their spirit felt so fragile? He thought bitterly what good sleep was when all that could be refreshed tomorrow morning was an empty stomach. Morale, once shattered, cannot be simply recharged. History was littered with such lessons: the Battle of Julu during the Qin dynasty, the conflicts of the Second Earth War. They proved time and again that spirit mattered more than strength. Ultimately, Summit Academy's flagging morale proved to be their undoing, leading to an easy defeat. The news rippled through the crowd. a palpable wave of shock washing over the supporters. Silverstream College had advanced, securing its place in the next round alongside the other two Titans. The third day dawned with renewed fervor. Many students from Summit Academy did not leave. They remained glued to their seats, desperate to see who would claim the top spot. The support was divided. Arcanecrest College and Grand Citadel Academy held the majority of cheers, while Silverstream College commanded only a small, dedicated following. The competition continues, and the passion never stops. Noah's voice boomed through the stadium, electrifying the air. Today is day 3. We face 3 teams simultaneously, battling wave after wave of vicious beasts. Only the top 2 will survive to advance. He held up the microphone, urging a roar that shook the rafters. The applause was deafening. The 3 competing teams settled into their respective virtual reality seats, and consciousnesses were drawn inward. On the massive screen above them, the figures of the competitors materialized. The match begins in 3 minutes. All participants prepare yourselves. Under the intense scrutiny of the crowd, time crawled by. 3 minutes felt like an eternity. The count reached 0, and then the announcer declared, "The match begins." At Noah's demand, the first wave appeared 10 ordinary creatures, low-ranking shadow cats, reminiscent of street pests. The initial challenge was laughably simple. In less than 5 seconds, the first wave dissolved into nothingness. A half-ninja buffer period followed before the next threat materialized, 10 black flower deer of the first order middle rank. They too fell quickly. This is too easy. Owen sighed, a flicker of boredom crossing his face. Can they not ramp up the pressure? The contestants were restless, but so was the audience. Watching this minute-by-minute slaughter felt pointless. Yet, as the waves progressed, the vicious beasts grew exponentially more formidable. A level 1 monster could kill instantly. Even a second-tier threat required focused effort. But then came the 7th wave. The pressure finally arrived, a third-tier lower-ranked beast leading a pack of second-order monsters. A deafening roar echoed through the virtual arena. It was the blazing flame tiger, an old nemesis, its kingly roar reverberating with primal power. Leading the charge, it swept toward the 3 teams. Either met the challenge head-on, unleashing ice burst technique, turning the magnificent beast into a blizzard of razor-sharp ice shards. Jackson's side was equally impressive. They worked in synchronized fury, taking down the leader and bringing the blazing flame tiger crashing to the ground with a single coordinated strike. Madison, though not the fastest, navigated the chaos without major incident. The 8th wave approached 3 third-tier lower-rank blazing flame tigers. A tremendous, echoing roar erupted, a sound that would send any lesser esper scrambling in terror. Perfect timing. Ethan knew he couldn't waste his ultimate move, the SS-rank Extreme Ice Illusion Killing Array, to conserve source energy. He deployed the next tier down, Ice Burst technique. It took less than a minute. Jackson, demonstrating exceptional individual prowess, managed the impossible feat of engaging 2 opponents simultaneously before eliminating another blazing flame tiger single-handed. His teammates quickly rallied, turning their attention to support him as they dispatched the final threat. The challenge was finally over 5 minutes later. But victory came at a steep cost. While Silverstream College had emerged victorious, the losses were severe. 3 members of the team lay eliminated by the relentless assault of the blazing flame tiger. Only Madison, the team leader, and 1 other boy remained standing. The next wave was announced, 2 third-tier middle-ranked giant mantises. Ethan solved this challenge even faster than before. For him, Ice Burst technique was an instant kill, whether against a blazing flame tiger or a colossal swift mantis. Killing 2 in a second was far swifter than killing 3. Arcanecrest College passed the test, but it was not without sacrifice. They lost 2 members. Only 3 remained to face what lay ahead. No need for pleasantries, however. The remaining 2 members of the Silverstream College team were simply overwhelmed by the sudden appearance of 2 third-tier middle-rank giant scythers. They phased out instantly. With that final disappearance, the 3rd day concluded. Tomorrow, the last 2 surviving teams would face off in the ultimate battle for glory. Ice Sword's wave of applause, thunderous and enthusiastic, erupted from the stands. Who do you think will claim victory tomorrow between Grand Citadel Academy and Arcanecrest College? Grand Citadel Academy. As the cheers subsided, a murmur rippled through the massive crowd. Since this was the final, every spectator felt compelled to cast their vote, their predictions hanging heavy in the charged air. Overall, the consensus favored Grand Citadel Academy. The reason was painfully obvious. During the grueling final wave of vicious beasts, 2/3 tier middle realm giant Gale Mantias's Grand Citadel Academy had appeared almost effortlessly superior. Awakener College, by contrast, seemed to be struggling for every move. Yet even as they speculated, no one could claim certainty. Perhaps the jury was merely a calculated performance by the Arcane Crest team, driven by some mischievous sense of flair. They might think, I will simply ensure I reach the finals. I won't unleash my full strength, or wait until the final match for a stunning debut. The crowd remembered history, the time when someone had opened a betting platform, and confident bettors had staked everything only to lose it all. That lesson was etched into their collective memory, impossible to forget. Ethan. After several contestants regained consciousness and lifted their helmets, a woman in the stands at Arcane Crest College watched the tall, resolute figure with profound regret. This man was Ethan. The woman was Anya, once the powerful administrator overseeing Emerald March and its surrounding territories. She thought, if only I had known how capable Ethan truly was, I would have petitioned for more resources to recruit him. I wouldn't have dismissed it with such casual words. Grand Citadel Academy regularly organizes students to go into the deep vaults. You should think it over carefully. To be fair, Arcane Crest College had offered nearly 20 million in resources just to secure Jackson, a student boasting the S+ fighting ability of the Dragon Soul. But now, Ethan's performance didn't merely match Jackson's, it surpassed him. But regret was a luxury she could not afford. There was no going back, no time machine to rewind fate. All this was simply the cruel hand of destiny. The fourth day had arrived. It was the final of the 4 great schools' freshman competition, and naturally, the viewing gallery overflowed with an unprecedented number of students. The venue was so packed that movement felt impossible. Liam, who had arrived an hour early, managed a decent spot near the front. But now, despite arriving an hour ahead of time, she could barely secure a seat in the last row. It was genuinely terrifying. With the wonderful performances displayed by all contestants, the competition is drawing to a close. Welcome, everyone, to the finals of the 4 great schools freshman competition. And now, please welcome our 2 finalist teams to the stage. For an event of this magnitude, ceremony was mandatory. With a sweeping gesture, Noah ushered the 2 finalists into the arena, accompanied by a spectacular burst of firecrackers that painted the sky with brilliant streaks of light and color. As cannons boomed in rhythm, the 2 teams entered from opposite sides. Upon entering, they waved to the cheering audience with practiced smiles. Look at me, seniors, look at me. Owen flailed his hands, almost leaping into the crowd, but it was futile. Most of the female students' gazes were fixed solely on Ethan, filled with intense longing. Owen's little antics failed to capture their attention. He sighed internally, thinking, Ethan is truly captivating. The 10 finalists settled into the virtual reality chairs and donned their helmets. Soon, the physical world dissolved, replaced by a wash of consciousness entering the digital plane. Simultaneously, the figures of all 10 appeared on the grand display screen above them. Before the final officially began, neither team had exchanged words. Yet their expressions spoke volumes. The Arcane Crest College team looked as if they faced an insurmountable foe. Their brows were furrowed, their demeanor solemn and strained. In stark contrast, the Grand Citadel Academy team appeared impossibly calm, showing no hint of pressure or anxiety. 3, 2, 1. No's voice echoed through the entire hall. The 10 figures in the virtual reality received the corresponding notification. The first segment was the individual competition. They were told to skip quickly through the match. The result, a score of 3-2, with no clear victor in a single game. Ultimately, the outcome on the team competition results. Unfortunately, the 2 captains still failed to face off, denying the audience the showdown they craved. This was statistically normal. The probability of them matching was only 20%. Fortunately, the problem was minor. The upcoming team competition promised to be exponentially more thrilling. Naturals of do. Clear-hearted jellyfish. The support roles on both sides unleashed their unique abilities, providing powerful surges of energy and boosts to their respective teams. Everyone remained still. Do not move in the face of any sudden action, Jackson instructed. Yesterday in the virtual reality he had been oblivious to it. Ethan's performance suggested that they, like their team, had barely managed to defeat two third-tier middle-realm giant Gale Mantises. According to some observers, it hadn't been a hard-fought victory, it had been an absolute, instantaneous annihilation. This convinced Jackson of only one path to victory: exploit the opponent's underestimation of his strength. Judging by the expression on their faces, they seemed utterly confident in their win. This was a golden opportunity. Allowing them to make the first move would allow him to map and exploit their weaknesses. First, they had defeated enemy after enemy, culminating in the feat of besting the powerful with sheer grit and skill. You won't move. I am about to. Extreme Ice Illusion Killing Array. Ice Sword, give it to me. Ethan raised an eyebrow, drawing upon nearly all the Ice-type Yuan energy within his body. He unleashed what was arguably his most powerful technique yet, the Extreme Ice Illusion Killing Array. In a breathtaking instant, 12 razor-sharp ice swords materialized and arranged themselves around Ethan, trailing gusts of biting cold wind. Originally, Ethan could only manifest a maximum of 8 swords, but with his attributes improved and his skill proficiency broken through, the number had naturally escalated to 12. These 12 ice swords, combined with the intense chill radiating from Ethan's very core, gave him the unmistakable aura of a cultivator straight out of a novel. One word was sufficient to describe it: handsome. The Fulbright School's freshman competition concludes. What kind of skill was that? It's breathtaking. More spectacular than looking at myself after a shower. Wow, he's so handsome! I wouldn't mind if Ethan didn't have a girlfriend. Mysterious. What happened to our promise of restraint? When Ethan unleashed the skill, Extreme Ice Illusion Killing Array, the gasps from the watching students were sudden and profound. The array erupted like an incendiary bomb, instantly melting the entire arena in a dazzling spectacle. The sheer artistry and destructive power before them forced spontaneous exclamations of pure admiration. Sarah, seated in the second row, displayed a rare flicker of genuine shock. Judging by the magnitude of this skill, it was far beyond what an ordinary S-rank ability could achieve. This belonged to something above S-rank. It had barely been a month since school began. Not only had his spearmanship broken through to master level, but he had also mastered skills of such exceptional quality. She knew the truth. The higher the caliber of a skill, the longer the path to mastery. By her own standards, even with her current aptitude, acquiring a S-rank ability from her department would take at least 2 or 3 weeks. For S-ranked above, she estimated a month. For an SS-rank skill, it would require no less than 2 months. And this was based on her present strength. If the opponent were merely in a realm like Ethan, that timeline would stretch by at least 30%. And this time, his comprehension ability is terrifying. Is he truly a monster? Sarah's beautiful eyes widened as she murmured to herself, Imma. In the first row sat Robert, the president of Grand Citadel Academy. A subtle flush crept across his face. This was the S-rank skill book, Extreme Ice Illusion Killing Array, that he had given Ethan. He hadn't expected such rapid mastery. He immediately decided to award Ethan the prize money after the match. Grand Citadel Academy boasted unparalleled student privileges since its founding. All resources at the school's exchange office were discounted by 90%, provided they weren't resold. Every skill book in the library was available, including rare SS-ranked texts, and learning time was limitless. Though he noted wryly, no Ice Element S-rank books currently graced the shelves. The list of conveniences continued. Privileges that had only been granted to 3 individuals in the century-long history of Grand Citadel Academy. The first recipient was Samuel, now Commander-in-Chief of the ironclad March of Aethelgard Empire. The second was Rachel, the current owner of Crystal Spire Hall. Both men had achieved remarkable success. Ethan's future, like theirs, was undoubtedly limitless. Back on the field, after discovering the 12 crystalline ice swords orbiting Ethan, every student at Arcane Crest College felt a wave of dread wash over them. Ethan merely waved his hand. The sword streamed toward their opponents in rapid succession. It was known that Emma's ice sword possessed the power to severely injure, or even instantly kill, a third-tier middle realm expert. And there were 12 of them. The opposing team's 5 members showed no desire to fight back. They could only focus on dodging the deadly onslaught until they devised a new strategy. But the Sorv moved with impossible speed. They were not easily evaded. Except for Jackson, who managed to dodge the first few strikes. His teammates were pierced through the chest by the icy blades and eliminated instantly. However, it had survived the initial assault. Dodging on the 15th day would have been a different matter. An ice sword materialized suddenly from behind, piercing his chest. A chilling cold shot through him, as if his internal organs were being ripped apart. Yet, fueled by powerful physical conditioning and temporary enhancement skills, he refused to fall. Gritting his teeth in defiance, call out, "The next flying sword is coming." This time Jackson was not so fortunate. 2 ice swords plunged into his chest, one on the left, one on the right. Their extreme icy breath instantly sealed off his source energy circulation and blood flow. Soon Jackson collapsed onto the stage. With the elimination of the last member of Arcane Crest College team, the final round was over. What was truly astonishing was that the entire process, from start to finish, had taken less than half a minute. A profound silence descended upon the arena. Every student present gasped in shock. Not just the second-year students, even third- and fourth-year students looked at their peers with disbelief. They could not match this level of efficiency. A deep current of frustration rippled through their hearts. But then, a sense of calm settled over them. There were countless heroes in the world. Dwelling on it was pointless. Furthermore, if Ethan continued to grow like this, he would undoubtedly become a figure commanding respect across the entire region. With one more powerhouse like him, Ethagard Empire would gain another moment of peace. This is actually a great thing, they thought, and relief washed over them. After the match concluded, all 10 participants' consciousnesses returned simultaneously. The Grand Citadel Academy team was met with thunderous applause and cheers from the crowd. Of course, the focus remained on Ethan. Many of the usually reserved female students could no longer hide their bold gazes. Even male students who had previously pursued them were stunned, their illusions completely shattered. It seemed that reserve was purely a matter of individual will. Clara frowned slightly in the shadows, a hint of displeasure crossing her face. "Ethan, congratulations. You are incredibly strong. I accept my defeat." Jackson walked forward and spoke readily. "Emma." There was no trace of dejection or failure on his face, only an unwavering belief and fierce determination to pursue something greater. "You not bad either," Ethan returned with a nod. "You managed to withstand 2 of my sword strikes." It was the truth. Whether it was last year or the one before, the teams led by Jackson had been capable of winning the 4 great schools' freshman competition. This alone proved his formidable strength. Immediately, the 2 men bumped fists and erupted into hearty laughter. A drone camera flying overhead captured the moment. Arcane Crest College immediately decided to use this photo as the background for next year's promotional poster. The theme indomitable. Pursuing. Surpassing. Hereby declare the 4 great schools' freshman competition officially concluded for this year. Thank you to all the participants for such a wonderful competition. Now, let us give them one final round of applause, shall we? The applause was deafening. At that moment, all 4 teams bowed slightly before the audience, accepting the gasps and thunderous ovation. After Mo's rambling conclusion, a wave of relief swept through the crowd. Everyone was finally permitted to leave. Yet for Ethan, and indeed for many others, departure proved impossible. A swarm of female students descended upon him like hungry wolves, surrounding him in a desperate crush, clamoring for autographs, some even attempting to pry out his personal contact information. Ethan sighed what he could, but when it came to private numbers, he remained politely elusive. Everyone performed admirably this time, Ethan announced, clapping his hands together with an air of generous finality. "Let's celebrate tomorrow night, it's on me. Everyone must attend." After the tide of admirers finally receded, Ethan breathed out a sigh and offered a casual, sweeping smile. "Brother Ethan, that is so incredibly generous." "Don't worry, I'll be there." A chorus of cheerful affirmations followed, punctuated by smiles. Only Clara managed a weak, brittle smile, offering only a slight nod in return. Ethan's eyes narrowed almost imperceptibly. He noticed the subtle shift in her demeanor, the forced nature of that small smile, but he said nothing at once. Once the crowd thinned and silence settled, Ethan caught up to Clara. His expression shifted instantly from public celebrity to genuine concern. "Clara, what is it? Are you unhappy?" "No. It's nothing," she stammered, forcing a vague air of illness. "I just feel unwell today." As for the truth, she couldn't articulate it. "Can you still walk properly? Should I take you to the infirmary?" Ethan pressed gently. Seeing the genuine worry etched on his face, Clara felt an uncomfortable flush rise beneath her skin. No need. I can manage." She shook her head slightly, waving away his offer of assistance. "All right then. You must be careful," he advised one last time. Just as spoke, his phone vibrated softly in his pocket, signaling a new message. Ethan retrieved the device and unlocked the screen. The sender's name made him pause. Robert, the president of Grand Citadel Academy. The message read simply, "Ethan, do you have time now? Come to my office." Without a second thought, Ethan knew exactly what Principal Robert intended. He replied immediately, "Principal Robert, I'm on my way." He hopped onto a shared electric scooter and headed straight for the principal's office. Some time later, inside the opulent quiet of the principal's study, he arrived. At this moment, Robert's usual mask of stern authority was fractured by an undeniable, almost indulgent smile. Any ordinary student would have been utterly astonished to see him so relaxed. But Ethan had grown accustomed to such displays. "Principal Robert," Ethan greeted, adopting a tone of polite inquiry. "What can I do for you?" Ethan performed exceptionally well this time, Robert declared, his voice warm and resonant. "Therefore, I have decided to grant you the highest student privileges." With that declaration, he handed an ornate agreement across the desk. Good heavens! The document detailed staggering benefits. All resources at the school's resource trading office were discounted by 90%. Every stale book in the library was now accessible, including rare SS-ranked texts, and learning them required no time limit. Ethan stared intently, his pupils widening slightly. The sheer scope of these advantages was breathtakingly overwhelming. Of course, he understood that such immense power carried commensurate responsibility. This responsibility, he knew, boiled down to one single goal: becoming stronger. Yet, the weight of it felt distant. Becoming stronger, wasn't that something he could achieve? After a quick scan of the agreement, Ethan signed his name with decisive certainty. "And for your second point," Robert continued, "in recognition of your outstanding performance in the 4 Great Schools freshman competition, this is your reward, the No. 7 Lost Ruin Pass." The space ring on Robert's finger flashed once. In the next instant, a dark crimson card materialized in his hand. No. 7 Lost Ruin. Ethan felt a prickle of confusion. This touched upon areas where his knowledge was limited. To date, 12 lost runes have been discovered within the underground world passage on Earth. Robert explained patiently. They are named sequentially by their discovery order. Within these ruins, you will find rare herbs and springs unseen in the surface world, unexpected treasures at every turn that will prove immensely helpful. He leaned forward conspiratorially. "Why, we have unearthed technologies within them that predate our own era. And this No. 7 Lost Ruin is located deep within the Crimson Sands wasteland, in Aethelgard continent. It opens every November. However, it is too early to venture there this year. The entry restrictions are set at level 4 and 5. You will need to wait until next year. Rest assured, the pass itself will not expire." Robert continued his detailed explanation with the patience of a seasoned genius. "Technology completely out of our time. Are we talking about aliens?" Ethan finally pinpointed the mystery in Robert's words. "Perhaps," Robert shrugged, a gesture of helpless ambiguity. His expression then hardened, returning to its authoritative gravity. "But facing unknown challenges, the only thing we can do is become stronger." Ethan nodded, his agreement absolute. On the other side of campus, Clara returned to her dormitory room. The moment she crossed the threshold, she collapsed onto the nearest sofa, pounding a dramatic rhythm with her fists. Her 2 long, slender legs, unburdened by excess weight, swayed in exaggerated despair. She looked utterly dejected. A few seconds later, Amelia, who had been drawn downstairs by the commotion, arrived and exclaimed with delight, "Clara! You're finally back." Amelia remembered watching her best friend compete earlier. He had planned to head straight back to the dorm with Clara, but a sudden influx of senior female students at the scene forced him to retreat first. "Oh, Clara, what is wrong with you?" Seeing her like this after such a triumphant competition, Amelia was genuinely surprised. "No, it's nothing," Clara mumbled, avoiding eye contact. Suddenly, a brilliant realization struck Amelia. So many senior girls flocked over earlier, they were obviously targeting Ethan. Could it be? A mischievous grin spread across his face. "My best friend is just jealous, isn't she?" He let out a hearty laugh. "Ha ha! I never thought Clara would get jealous one day." "Amelia, what are you laughing at?" Clara frowned, her voice laced with annoyance. Amelia continued, his tone dripping with playful suggestion. "Clara, if you truly care about Ethan that much, why don't you just confess your feelings to him?" "Oh, me? Was I that obvious?" Upon hearing this, Clara's beautiful eyes widened instantly. A delicate blush crept up her perfect cheeks. "Obviously," Amelia confirmed with a solemn nod. "It is very, very obvious." "What if he doesn't agree?" "Then we won't even be friends anymore." At the sheer earnestness in Amelia's eyes, Clara faltered, a wave of hesitation washing over her. Sigh. "I am so disappointed in you, truly disappointed." Amelia let out a theatrical sigh, then fixed her gaze on him. "Damn it, Ethan, are you content to merely be friends with him? Don't you want to take things further?" She raised an eyebrow, challenging him. Clara paused, considering the weight of her own feelings. "Then what is there left to hesitate about? Let's just go for it." Amelia pressed on, a mischievous glint in her eyes. "Don't you don't recognize your own charm? Look at you, are beautiful with a figure that turns heads. Even I, a girl, admit I adore you. Plus, you come from such wealth. What man could possibly refuse you?" She leaned closer, lowering her voice conspiratorially. "Once those other girls realize who you are, they will naturally scatter." Amelia guided him through the logic step by step, then added a final point with a knowing smile. "Besides, based on my observation, Ethan definitely harbors feelings for you too." At that moment, Amelia's expression shifted. It was the look of a seasoned trickster, like a jackalope pointing out an obvious trap. As she spoke, Clara recalled the genuinely concerned look in Ethan's eyes from not long ago. A slow warmth spread through her chest. "Then I will give it a try." After a barrage of persuasive whispers from his best friend, the hesitation finally melted away. She nodded with sudden resolve. Hee, this is the Clara I know." Amelia chuckled, scratching her head playfully. Then, tapping lightly on her stomach, she added, "Clara, I've helped you so much it can't be too much to ask for a few macarons. Right, good." Clara nodded happily and skipped toward the kitchen. Night fell. Clara lay in bed, tossing restlessly, unable to find sleep. She spent the hours wrestling with when and how she should finally speak her truth. Lost in thought, it wasn't until 2 o'clock in the morning that even breathing seemed to resume a steady rhythm in her chest. The next day, at 9 o'clock, Clara slowly woke up. Having stayed up so late, the morning felt like a gentle haze. It's already so bright outside. What time did I sleep until? As dawn broke fully, she reflexively reached for her phone beside the pillow to check the time. The moment the screen lit up, a message from Ethan caught her attention. It was a simple inquiry about her current physical condition, coupled with an offer. If she hadn't fully recovered, they could postpone the celebration banquet for a few days. A faint smile touched Clara's lips as she replied, "Thank you for your concern, I have fully recovered." The next second, the name Ethan at the top of her screen changed to indicate that he was typing. Then, type back, "That's good. I also sent the details for today's celebration banquet to you." He followed up with the time and location. "It's 8 o'clock in the evening, and the location is the nearby Ethereum Spire." After reviewing the messages and the address provided by Ethan, Clara finally had a clear picture of the evening ahead. Time slipped away quickly. In the blink of an eye, it was already 7 o'clock. Clara left her dormitory an hour early and ran into Ethan, who was also heading out. "Good evening, classmate Ethan." She offered a polite greeting before moving closer to walk beside him. "Oh, good evening," Ethan replied, his eyes lighting up as he glanced at her. Grand Citadel Academy was nestled in the southern reaches of Emberwood region, deep within Athagard Empire. Even now the night air retained a surprising warmth. Clara looked particularly lovely. She wore a floral dress that seemed to capture the delicate beauty of spring itself. Combined with the enviable figure that still shone through despite the loose fabric, she was breathtakingly captivating. Half an hour later, they arrived together in front of Ethereum Spire. They paused, taking in the grand facade. 3 large characters Ethereum Spire were displayed prominently on a plaque directly ahead, framed by intricate carvings of dragons and phoenixes dancing across the structure. The entrance was a hive of activity. Even the newly opened storefronts buzzed with constant foot traffic. In the restaurant industry, drawing customers is everything. Clearly, the current scene proved that they had succeeded. This very Ethereum Spire was the same place where Ethan had dined with the Firefox squad in Viridian Crossing. It was known for its pleasant dining environment, relatively affordable prices, and consistently excellent food quality, a combination that attracted a large base of loyal patrons. With a steady stream of customers, they prospered enough to expand and open a similar branch right here in Grand Citadel Academy. As for how Ethan had learned about the new Ethereum Spire, it was from a post someone had made days earlier on the campus forum. The post inquired about the quality of a newly opened establishment near the school, complete the photos taken by an online user. Some commenters admitted they hadn't been yet, while others praised it as a must-try experience that would surely impress. Not a single negative comment appeared. Ethan felt a pleasant surprise at this discovery. I haven't had time to visit lately, he thought, so I'll take advantage of this celebration banquet to have a good meal here. This is it, let's go in quickly, Ethan suggested. Clara nodded in agreement. The two entered the building. Hello, we are 5 people in total. Do you have any private rooms available? Ethan approached the counter and inquired. Wes, we still have 2 6-person rooms available. The young lady at the counter greeted them with a warm smile. Which would you prefer? Private room 45 or private room 46? Let's take number 45. Ethan replied casually. After answering her question, Ethan pulled out his phone and quietly relayed their room number to Daniel, Marcus and Owen. Following the young lady's directions, they entered private room 45. You can order food directly on the mechanical display screen over there, she instructed. If you have any questions, just press the red button. With those words, the attendant left them alone. Thus, only Ethan and Clara remained in the spacious private room number 45. Bored while waiting for their friends, the two began chatting idly. Ethan's humorous and witty remarks elicited frequent, silvery bursts of laughter from Clara. Suddenly, footsteps approached. The first to rush through the entrance was Owen. Judging by his expression, he was vibrating with excitement. Marcus and Daniel followed close behind him. The group took their seats one by one. Now that everyone's here, let's start ordering. Ethan smiled faintly and gestured toward the mechanical display screen before them. The ordering of food began with a comfortable rhythm. The menu was a comforting echo of Emberwood region's culinary traditions: steamed grouper, poached chicken, roast goose, dishes familiar enough to soothe their palates. After all, none of them possessed the constitution for spicy fare, nor could they handle the robust flavors of Mistfall territory, its neighbor. Hee. How about we round out the meal with a few more bottles of beer? Marcus chuckled, suggesting an easy course. Beer won't do, we need something stronger, some 20% ABV spirits. Tonight we are drinking until we drop. Owen countered, his voice ringing with theatrical enthusiasm. At these words, Ethan's memories flickered back, pulling him into the past. He recalled a night of such potent liquor shared with his teacher, Thomas. He had collapsed after barely 2 cups, though even then, the alcohol was a staggering 60%, the kind his mentor favored. Now at a mere 20%, it felt tame, well within an acceptable range. A quick calculation suggested his tolerance might stretch to 6 drinks. The food arrived with surprising swiftness. Within 20 minutes of placing the order, nearly every dish was laid out. The intoxicating aroma of the meal drifted through the air, prompting Owen to sniff dramatically, and even let a bead of drool escape the corner of his mouth. He shot a quick, knowing glance at Ethan. Seeing Owen's anticipation, yet wanting Ethan, the team leader and host, to break the ice first, Ethan couldn't help but feel a flicker of amusement. Everyone, let's eat. Don't be shy, we can always order more if we aren't full. Ethan smiled, his voice warm. Then I won't stand on ceremony, Owen declared, the words sounding like a triumphant fanfare. He had been waiting for that exact invitation. As soon as he finished speaking, he plucked a piece of fish, dipped it in the sauce, and brought it to his lips. Not bad, he thought with pure delight. I'm so happy. More than an hour later, after the last crumbs were cleared, they left from the entrance of Ethereum Spire. But Clara did not follow. As everyone else dispersed, leaving only her and Ethan behind, she blinked her beautiful almond-shaped eyes. Her red lips parted slightly as she asked, "Classmate Ethan, the breeze is so gentle now. How about we take a walk together?" Stepping out of the dormitory, the air still held a faint warmth. But Clara was right, with the soft evening breeze, a stroll sounded perfectly pleasant. Besides, her stomach felt pleasantly full, and a walk would aid digestion. Good. You agreed, nodding. The two wandered along the small path beside the river. In the quietude, they simply absorbed the tranquility of the night, and the gentle caress of the breeze. Suddenly, a man knelt nearby, pulling out a ring he had prepared alongside a brand new iPhone 17. "Ashley," he called out, his voice ringing with mock drama. "Look, this is an iPhone 17 I bought for you. It sounds like I love Ashley in Chinese. Will you marry me? I swear I will be good to you for the rest of my life." The girl, Ashley, was momentarily taken aback, but then a boundless joy bloomed across her face. "Okay, I promise you." She extended a finger, allowing him to gently slide the ring onto it. They embraced tightly, both smiling with sweet, shared happiness. Clara, who had been passing by, witnessed the incredibly romantic scene. There were still other people strolling nearby, so she waited until they reached a secluded bend in the path before stopping. "Clara, you..." Ethan turned his head, sensing the footsteps of others fading away, but what happened next caused his pupils to widen in surprise. Clara stood motionless. Her pretty face was flushed with the soft glow of the setting sun, making her look both coy and hesitant. Though she had spent last night and this walk mentally preparing for this moment, when it arrived, a wave of nerves washed over her. She took a deep breath, gathering every sliver of courage. With her red lips slightly parted, she slowly opened her mouth, her voice barely audible. "Classmate Ethan, I like you. Let's be together." She lowered her head shyly, but her gaze kept flicking up and down, desperately awaiting his reaction. Though Clara's voice was a whisper, Ethan heard every syllable clearly. Seeing the beautiful awkwardness of her first confession, he felt a gentle amusement bubble up. A faint smile played on Ethan's lips. At that sight, Clara's heart seemed to ache with renewed anxiety. No way, she thought desperately, my first confession is going to fail like this. Ethan himself was momentarily lost in thought. He had to admit that the initial draw to Clara had been her stunning beauty. In truth, she hadn't been alone. He had initially been captivated by her handsome face, which gave everyone a sense of comfort and ease. But it wasn't just looks. As he got to know her through repeated interactions, he discovered a personality that resonated deeply with him. Naturally, a profound goodwill began to bloom in his heart. Otherwise, he wouldn't have spent so much time with her. He had originally planned to make a decision later. But now that Clara, the girl, had confessed first, he, as the boy, could not possibly hesitate. Ethan murmured and smiled genuinely. "Okay," a male voice rang out beside him. Her almond-shaped eyes shone with boundless brilliance. All the shyness and anticipation vanished instantly. Replaced the smile as radiant as spring blossoms. Overwhelmed by excitement, Clara took a few steps forward and buried her head tightly in Ethan's arms. Her delicate body melted into his embrace. Suddenly, it felt a soft pressure against him, making him exclaim softly, "What an aura!" In the privacy of his own mind, he gave himself a silent thumbs up for his new girlfriend's figure. "Now that I'm your girlfriend," Clara murmured into his chest, "those female classmates shouldn't come near me anymore." Emma chuckled. "Haha, so that's what you worry about." He smiled knowingly and reached out to gently pat her head. It was unexpected. The very students who had once sought his autograph, or even her contact information, seemed to have accelerated this confession. "Chloe," he teased with a smile, "you seemed down yesterday. It didn't look like you were sick, but rather jealous." Now that she was his girlfriend, Ethan naturally abandoned the formal address of classmate for something more intimate. Clara snorted coldly. Who told someone to be remembered by so many senior girls?